Hello, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to this week's live Q&A, fertility Q&A. All right, let's see what questions were written in. We've got a question from Emily Calabro. She says, can castor oil packs cause mid-cycle bleeding? If so, should they be stopped? And what does this mean? Can castor oil packs cause mid-cycle bleeding? Yes and no. Some women do find that they get some spotting when they do implement some new therapies like castor oil packs or self-abdominal massage or the acupressure protocols in my program, the fertility activation method. And oftentimes this is because you're getting increased circulation, increased blood flow to the reproductive organs, to the ovaries, to the fallopian tubes, to the uterus. And with that increased blood flow, it helps to release old tissue that's been stuck and kind of stagnant in the reproductive organs. And so that can be loosened up and it kind of cleaned out by the body. Also, your hormones can be shifting whenever you're doing something to support your reproductive health. Anything that may increase blood flow to the reproductive organs can also, because then if you're having increased blood flow to the ovaries, that can increase and shift some hormonal activity. So when your hormones shift, like if you have increased estrogen levels, that can also cause mid-cycle bleeding. Whether you should stop or not, typically it can be a good thing, in the event that your body is cleaning itself out or balancing hormones. So I always say things oftentimes seem to get worse before they get better. That being said, it's always a good idea, if you ever have any concerns with your cycle at all, to discuss them with your doctor, especially mid-cycle bleeding. So I would never get on here and say, never worry about mid-cycle bleeding, because if you have irregular bleeding, that is something, and I'm not saying this to alarm you, like, oh my God, you had some spotting mid-cycle after doing castor oil packs, oh my God, run to the doctor, but in general, it would also be irresponsible for me to be on here and not let you know that irregular bleeding could be indicative of a fibroid or a type of growth. And this is why, and that would not be caused by doing a castor oil pack. That would be something that was already a pre-existing condition that, a castor oil pack is not going to cause an irregular growth. So, it's kind of up to you to determine, is this something that I'm concerned about and I need to bring to my doctor, or I feel that this is just minor. I'm going to watch it for a little bit and see if it kind of clears up on its own, because I've been doing these castor oil packs and I think that that's probably the issue. But I always say, if for peace of mind alone, never be afraid to ask your doctor if you are really concerned about it. But just so you know, yes, that can happen. And so when I say yes or no, I mean yes, because you're having this increased circulation and to the reproductive organs, that can result in just some spotting or bleeding mid-cycle. But no, in the fact that it's not causing it per se, and that if it were something alarming, like a growth that was causing the spotting. So hopefully that clears it up for you, Emily. And then your next question is it effective to take guaifenesin to increase cervical mucus? And I am not familiar with that. I don't have experience with taking that for oh, I see. Yeah, that's what I thought, that it's an expectorant. I personally do not encourage people to take over-the-counter medications to increase cervical mucus, because then over-the-counter medications can disrupt your hormonal balance. So maybe you're increasing cervical mucus, but it's a drug. And so that's not the route that I would go. first things first, make sure that you're drinking enough water. A lot of times lack of cervical mucus is from dehydration. So I would recommend doing evening primrose oil before I would recommend taking an over-the-counter medication. I generally have stopped recommending evening primrose oil just because it is, it has phytoestrogens in it, which is, those are natural forms of estrogen, but estrogen dominance is such a big issue with so many women and so many fertility conditions that it's kind of debatable whether having plant-based estrogens, like the ones that are in evening primrose oil, are safe. In some events, they can be helpful. And in some schools of thought that the natural plant-based estrogens can help with estrogen dominance and balance it out. But other schools of thought believe that the phytoestrogens can actually add to the estrogen dominance in the system. So I have tended to play it safe and stopped recommending evening primrose oil. However, I would, because it can be very effective at increasing cervical mucus. However, I would still recommend that before I would recommend an over-the-counter medication like the mucus or the cough drugs. But yes, water intake is really important. And there is a protocol in my program, the Fertility Activation Method, that is an increased cervical mucus protocol for women that do have that issue. Anything that you can do to help relax your body. So there's another protocol in my program that's for stress and relaxation, for detoxifying the liver, and it helps to increase cervical mucus or increase circulation to the cervix to produce more cervical mucus. So I would recommend in that case watching my program, the 4-Step Fertility Reset. It's a free masterclass. My assistant is asking if I'm live yet, and she'll post these links here for me. Oh, okay. So, Brandy, could you please post the link to the 4-Step Fertility Masterclass? And so I would recommend Emily watching that, and you can learn about how to reset your fertility based on my approach, and learn about my protocols and how they can help your fertility. But my approach is to support the entire body for supporting your fertility. So a lot of times a lack of cervical mucus or other issues related to your fertility, like spotting mid-cycle and so forth, are due to your system's being out of balance. And so the program focuses on bringing your system into balance so that your hormones can be balanced, your uterus is healthy, you're getting good cervical mucus and so forth. All right, next question is from Jurat. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. And hello, Facebook, whoever is on right now. You can feel free to say hi in the chat bot or in the comments. So she asks, dear Heidi, sometimes I feel so lost. We are trying for a baby for nearly a year. I've been checked. I'm okay. Cycle is regular. Hormones are okay. And tubes are not blocked. My partner's sperm is normal. We are eating healthy. My partner has irritable bowel syndrome, so he's taking care of food, but not always perfect. The news are only good, but I'm feeling desperate as I don't get pregnant. What can we do to get that miracle? Or what could I do? I'm 34, almost 34, and he is 40. Okay. Yeah, I understand it's really frustrating, especially it's good to know that there's no problems, but on the other side, when it's unexplained infertility, that can be really frustrating because you don't know what you can do because it's still not working. So I would also recommend that you watch my free masterclass, a 4-step fertility reset. It is in the links below, or in the comment. The link is in the comment below. Because a lot of times from a Western perspective, it's very difficult to diagnose the fertility issue, especially if there's nothing obvious like blocked tubes or, if you're like 44, they're going to tell you it's probably your age or bad, sperm quality and so forth. But when they can't find anything, and especially when you're only 34, they can't usually, even if they can find something and you're like 38, they're just going to tell you, oh, it's your eggs. Even though that may not be true. Your eggs may actually be fine, but they're just going to tell you it's your age and therefore it's probably your egg quality because they don't really know what else. So there's a limitation to their ability to look into what's going on. They have certain diagnostic measurements, and if those all fall within normal, they're gonna be like, oh, there's no problem. So it's great that your hormones are okay and your tubes aren't blocked and your husband's sperm is good. That's wonderful. So there's a lot of good stuff working for you and having a regular cycle. But there's probably just some fine tuning that needs to take place to maybe improve the environment of your uterus, so that your husband's sperm can maybe swim better, survive better for fertilization, or maybe your hormones are just a little bit off. Sometimes there's just a little bit of tweaking. And that's the beauty of my approach, which is, based in Chinese medicine and my 10 years of experience clinically, as well as like the thousands of years that Chinese medicine has been proven to work. So, the way that we approach any kind of health imbalance like infertility is by supporting the whole body and looking at any areas that the body can be out of balance that may not be obvious or may not seem related to your fertility. And also paying a closer attention to your cycle day by day, not just, did you have a 28-day cycle and did you ovulate, but more things like, what is your period like? Are you getting any symptoms throughout your cycle, like headaches or difficulty sleeping, things like this, that all come together to show a bigger picture of like, well, yeah, you're generally in good health, but there are some areas that need some improvement because it's a bit off balance and therefore affecting your fertility. And when you bring these things into balance and support your fertility and good blood flow to your reproductive organs, then you can fall pregnant. The body wants to be pregnant. It's what it naturally is designed to do. So when it's not falling pregnant, there's just something that needs some balance and it needs some restoration. It's not quite having the balance and the resources it needs to facilitate pregnancy and a healthy pregnancy at that. So I recommend watching my free free masterclass, a 4-step fertility reset, to have a better understanding of this. And then to also learn how my approach can help you. Okay, let's see. We have a question from Christina. Would your program help with those of us who have Hashimotos? Have been trying for 3 years and been checked and all is well. My numbers are all okay. I'm 37 and feel I'm running out of time. Please help. Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of women in my program. So many women have hypothyroidism and Hashimotos, the Hashimotos form of hypothyroidism, meaning that there are thyroid antibodies present. And so it's great that your numbers are good, but sometimes the medications alone and getting those numbers in the right bracket is not the only challenge, because that's still, the medications that are making those numbers get into the right levels. So it's managing your numbers, but there's still the underlying condition that led to the inflammatory condition, the autoimmune condition, essentially, where your body is attacking its thyroid. And that's often because the body is under stress, and under stress in different ways. It can be that there's toxins in the system. It can be that there's you may have a leaky gut. It can be that your adrenals are fatigued. And so with my program, I address all of these. And what is really important, what I have found has been sort of the common thread for the women in my program that have had success getting pregnant, who have been diagnosed with Hashimotos. And oftentimes I find that women with Hashimotos or hypothyroidism also have other conditions like endometriosis or fibroids, because those are all inflammatory conditions. And it's kind of the same underlying issue that is contributing to the inflammation throughout the body. And so I recommend doing the supplement protocol, and you can read that in my free fertility supplement guide, the inflammatory protocol. So doing a 30-day ultra GI replenish cleanse to heal the gut first, because everybody's gut needs healing, and then doing the 10-day clear change detox. These are Metagenics products, and to detoxify the liver, in conjunction with doing the program, which really supports the body to come back into balance and restore itself. Because when you're at that level of having an inflammatory condition where the body is attacking itself, the thyroid, when the thyroid is struggling that much, that is a sign of the body being very much under-resourced. And so it's about giving the body the support it needs to become resourced. So I would recommend, you can start with the free fertility supplement guide. Watch the free 4-step fertility masterclass to learn more about my approach and about the program, and see if it would be a good fit for you. But we have, Brandy, if you could post a testimonial. We have a lot of testimonials with hypothyroidism and women getting pregnant on my program. And this is after having tried for like 5 years or 8 years, 10 years, having failed fertility treatments, being 40, being diagnosed with not only hypothyroidism, but endometriosis and diminished ovarian reserve, and then using my program and getting pregnant after just 2 months, 3 months. I don't want to set that expectation. That's not necessarily going to happen for everybody, but it definitely shows, it proves the effectiveness of my program, and basically how effective it is to give your body the support that it needs. And then once it has the support that it needs, it can do what it's built to do naturally. It wants to get pregnant. So I love to show just like the resilience of our bodies when our bodies have what it needs. And Western medicine is just not specialized in that. It's not what they have to offer. They have to offer like, okay, your thyroid is out of whack. We're not going to look at the underlying conditions that led to that. We're going to manage we're going to manage the symptoms. We're going to manage the results of the underlying conditions. So with medications. So you really do need and want to take a two-pronged approach when you have a condition like this. It's necessary for you to be taking the medications, but you also want to be, using holistic methods to change your lifestyle and incorporate things in your day-to-day lifestyle to support what led to this in the first place. All right, and Brandy did post that testimonial. Okay. Okay, so Sophia says, after preeclampsia, my cycle was on a 60-day cycle with bleeding for 30 days. Oof. 18 months after my cycles are like before, on day 21 to 25 days, like maybe a 21 to 25 day cycle, but I am bleeding for 9 to 10 days. Not much, but I have blood, hormones, my blood analysis, and my gynecologist says everything's okay. What else can I do with this condition? Wait, maybe, I'm sure I haven't ovulated now. I'm drinking fully in inositol. So yeah, possibly. I don't know your weight. If you're overweight, it sounds like, maybe losing weight could be helpful. I don't know if you still have issues with high blood pressure, and so certainly, rather than just losing weight, I would like to emphasize, it's really, I don't encourage women just to lose weight for the sake of losing weight, like doing whatever you can to drop weight quickly. That is not going to make you healthier. But if you do need to lose weight, it's slow and steady and sustainable is the way to go. Not a drastic drop where you become malnourished. So you could work with a nutritionist. You can follow the dietary recommendations in my program. but it's definitely not about starving yourself or fasting. And yeah, but some, like, when women are overweight, sometimes there can be that estrogen dominance because estrogen is stored in fat cells. So that's what can contribute to irregular cycles and irregular bleeding. I don't know if that's your issue. But I would also recommend that you watch my 4-step fertility reset masterclass. In the comments here, you can sign up for it for free. And we put the link to sign up for that in the comments. And I talk about in that, getting your cycle regular. So my program, definitely that's the first and foremost step. The first and foremost goal is to get a regular cycle because, regular cycle is the first step to getting pregnant, being able to get pregnant. So I would also suggest my supplement guide, but I have a feeling that maybe you're not in the US, so you would have trouble getting the Metagenics product. So I would suggest you work with a nutritionist, maybe a naturopath in your area for having like weight loss and some supplements. And then I would recommend my program to help you get your cycle regular. A lot of times that bleeding can either be from a hormonal imbalance, and potentially if you're deficient, if there's a weakness of energy, then it's not holding the blood inside the body, and you're starting to bleed early. This is especially if the color of the bleeding is like a pink color, pinkish. But if the color of the blood is more dark or brownish, dark red, if it has any tissue in it, that is more of an indication of having some stuck blood, old blood. And so that would be a matter of increasing circulation to your uterus. And my program covers both of those things. It covers increased blood flow to the reproductive organs as well as helping to boost your energy so that you're in balance out the hormones. So again, it's about giving your body the support that it needs to naturally bring itself into balance. But certainly diet and supplements make a huge difference. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question here that was written in from Minal. Minal says, I was diagnosed with PCOS in 2015 due to cysts on my ovaries. This year in June, I went for a scan and they said they no longer have cysts. Can they go away? Yes. You said, I still don't think I'm ovulating. Is there anything you can recommend? Yeah, they can go away. Especially, I would be curious if in 2015 you had recently gotten off the birth control pill or any kind of birth control, because a lot of times the estrogen in birth control interferes with the endocrine system and can cause cysts. I see so many women who come off the birth control that are then diagnosed with polycystic ovaries and are not ovulating. And so once their body detoxes from those synthetic hormones, and once they give their body the support it needs to get back into a rhythm, then they're able to start ovulating. Because what happens is that when the cysts, when you're on the birth control pill and it's like suppressing your cycle and so forth, then your follicles are not able to mature to their full capacity so that they're ready to be ovulated. So they start to grow and then they just stop. And then they become cysts. And then that happens cycle after cycle. So it's wonderful that you don't have cysts anymore. So you definitely have one hurdle out of the way. But if you're still not ovulating, then your body is still having trouble maturing an egg. So your ovaries are kind of what I would say slow or sluggish or sleepy. And so, I would recommend the same to you that I'm recommending to most of the women in this Q&A session, which would be to watch my 4-step fertility reset masterclass, and that I go into more detail about how you can support your body to support your fertility, to get back on track so that your body is able to fully mature the eggs for ovulation. Because, you know, once you have that going, you should probably be able to ovulate, as you know, assuming you have or get pregnant, assuming you have a regular cycle. Anita says, I know I said I was only going to take one more question, but this would be a quick one. And is there any way that I can wake up my husband's sperm without doing shots? I've never really heard of shots being recommended to improve sperm quality. That's not a typical thing. But yeah, absolutely. A diet as well as supplements can really help, and lifestyle can help improve his sperm quality, as well as in my program, Fertility Activation Method, there is a protocol for helping male fertility as well. But you can read my free fertility supplement guide. There is a section in there that recommends supplements for sperm quality. Of course, you want to have him avoid caffeine and alcohol and marijuana, hot tubs, or putting he shouldn't be wearing like tight underwear, but loose fitting underwear. No laptop on his lap that causes heat. It's really important to keep that area cool. No like cell phone right in his front pocket. Antioxidants are the name of the game. Lots of like cooked vegetables. And Brandy, can you post the blog post I have on improving male fertility and sperm quality? And Sophia says, thank you so much. I was at a holistic doctor. I think they found a parasite on my egg. Now it's clean. Blood pressure is okay. Good. Thank you for your answer. For sure, I'll lose some weight. Thank you. And yes, I'm not from the USA. I'll try to follow as much as I can. God bless you. Wonderful. My pleasure. And you're welcome, Anita, and you're welcome, Minal. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for today's Q&A. And maybe I'll see you next week. All right. Thank you.